Today on Street Riding American Style, we're heading to Marysville, Kansas. Population 3,295 and home of the Marysville Auto Fest. People and all styles of rides are packing the streets. Today we'll take a closer look at a 1950 Chevy pickup, a 1944 panel van, a 52 Chevy cab over truck, and a 1946 Chrysler Windsor Coupe. All these are coming up here on Street Riding American Style. Street riding is an art. It's a passion. It's a lifestyle. Guys and gals of all ages in communities all across this great land of ours are designing and building street rods that deserve a thumbs up. Our mission? To find these works of art and showcase them so that this passion is never lost, because street riding is more than just a hobby, it's an addiction. This is Street Riding American Style.
All right, man, I've been thinking. I think it's time we get on the road again and go hit some more car shows.
I think you're right. Any ideas?
I do. One word for you.
Got it?
Marysville Auto Fest.
Sounds cool.
It is cool. Let's go.
Okay, we're here at the Marysville Auto Fest. I got Bill here. Bill's one of the promoters. Bill, tell me exactly how long you've been doing this.
This is our 25th year of the Marysville Auto Fest.
I see you have a passion too, because 3 of these cars are yours right behind us, right?
That's correct.
What do you have?
This is a 69 Chevelle,
Right?
a 58 Edsel, and an 85 Olds Cutlass Spring.
That is very cool. What are all the events happening here at the Auto Fest?
We try and make this weekend a family event.
Right.
So we have a little bit of everything going on, with the car show being the main thing.
How many cars do you think you have here?
Well, we're the last count, we were guessing right around that 300. We've been around that 300 mark for the last 3 years. If we can catch a break in some weather, of course, car shows are always weather driven.
Well, I'm telling you, right now it's a great day. We're gonna have some fun. There are tons of cars to choose from. How do you find 4 cars? I don't know, but we're gonna do it. All right, guys, you know me, I can't help it. I walk by, I see this thing laying frame sitting on the ground. It jumps up and smacks me in the face, so I gotta find its owner, Justin. Justin, what are we looking at?
You're looking at a 1950 Chevy.
Chevy's entry into the new pickup market was given rugged nicknames such as Cast Iron Wonder and Stove Bolt.
This isn't what it would have looked like. It kind of looks like it's laying out in a barn, like sitting buried in the weeds, but you've got it freaking slammed to the ground. Dude.
Yeah, it's bagged all the way around.
Yeah.
And so,
how do you set it when you're driving down the road?
About 4 to 5 inches off the ground.
That's not bad.
No.
That's not bad. Pretty good clearance, 4 to 5 inches.
Yeah.
What I want to know is it a 4-valve suspension? Is there a 4-way control in the valve system?
Yes.
So you can go each one.
Yep.
So is there a master setting on those things where all you gotta do is push the button and you set it and it stays there, or do you have to do it every time?
Yeah, I gotta do it every time. It's old school manual valves.
What would you classify this thing? Some people would say, oh, look at that old rat rod pickup, but would you call this a rat rod?
No, I'd probably just call it a pickup.
Yeah, me too. I wouldn't call it a rat rod either. To me, a rat rod has a bunch of different flair thrown into it. This thing, it is kind of ratty looking, but it's got that old school nostalgic hot rod feel to it, and it speaks to my heart. No wipers.
Nope, no wipers.
Now you've got the Indian blankets in the interior. Do you plan on leaving that, or do you plan on finishing the interior?
The truck's about as done as it's gonna get.
I like that. That's done as it's gonna get, and that is the way it just looks cool. Tell me some fun stories in this thing, man.
It used to drag the rear bumper when it had one.
Yeah. When it had one, what happened to it? Did you drag it off?
It got tired of hooking it on stuff, so I just took it off.
I imagine. So what made you decide to go with the wheel setup on here?
It's just, I've always been a big fan of steel wheels, and just a GM steel wheel with a spider cap and a beauty ring on it.
It does the trick, man.
Yep.
And you got a tiny little white wall, I guess, on all 4 of them. And it's, I'm drawn to the big, thick white walls, and this one is that real skinny. It's cool. Tops it off, man. Justin, I got one more question for you, man. Can we hear this bad boy?
Yep.
Haha, fire it up.
Hey Rick, good to see you again.
Hi Shelley, good to see you.
Hey, I want to know, what are some fun accessories that are people putting on their cars now?
Good question. We do a lot of accent and underbody lighting. We do lots of backup cameras. And we do remote starts with keyless entry and alarms.
Great. Hey, I want to talk about the lighting first. Have you got anything you can show me?
Got one in the drive. Come
All
with
right,
me.
let's go. So Rick, how are people using aftermarket lighting?
Well, we have a lot of different lighting methods we can do to a vehicle. For example, on this particular vehicle, we've got accent lighting around the perimeter of the headlights.
That's pretty cool. Is that a safety feature or is that for cosmetic?
Actually, it could be both because these are all LEDs. They're much brighter than a lot of the old bulbs that were in the headlights. We also have features where we can...
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah, it is. You can open the door, we can put lighting underneath the car and illuminate when you step out to protect you from having a little rock or something outside of the door that you might, a hole you might fall into, a rock or something like that.
Any other place that they're using them on the vehicle?
We've got the same thing back here on the trunk.
Oh.
When you open the trunk up, it'll illuminate on the bottom side of the car and give you more light whenever you're in the trunk area when you open it up.
Great. So I noticed that the lights on this particular vehicle are white. Do they come in any other colors?
I have a display up front to show you.
All right.
Follow me.
Cool.
So how does this look, Shelley?
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, these underbody kits are really cool. They'll go on the end caps and also the side rails, and you can actually make them all the same color or mix and match.
Oh, good, because I might get bored and I want to change it up a little bit.
Now let's try this.
Oh, I love it.
Is that cool?
So you're really only limited by your imagination, aren't you?
Exactly.
That's great. When we come back, we're going to talk about what it's like to be on camera. A backup camera, that is. You're watching Street Rotting American Style on Cox Channel, Kansas. Tony, like most street rotters, saw the potential in this 1940 Ford panel van, and we like what he came up with. It's next on Street Rotting American Style.
It's a delivery, right? But tell me exactly, make, model, and year, what I'm looking at here.
40 Ford panel van.
Ford invented the assembly line method for making cars. It is said that Henry Ford got the assembly line idea from the way that pigs were slaughtered and butchered.
How did you come across this?
The farmer was using it as a feed truck.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did it kind of hurt you to know that was being done as a feed truck?
Yeah.
Oh, man. So you found it with this farmer. How'd you get it from the farmer? How'd you get him to release it?
Well, we gave him $150 for it.
$150 for this? That's a steal, don't you think?
Yeah.
Did he know he's going to get ripped off a little bit by you or not?
Nope.
And you weren't going to tell him, were you?
He thought it was junk because it had the front end was off and everything. So
You saw the potential.
yeah.
Tony, I'm looking at the side of the panel. It says Eckert Racing. Explain that to me.
Well, my brother and I, let's see, we started in '56 and raced clear till '68.
So you are true the old school drag racing team.
Yeah, well, my brother died last fall.
Oh, I'm sorry. So it's a tribute to your brother. That's great. He's never seen it. He saw this then, but didn't see it finished.
Right.
Would he approve?
Yep.
Of course he would. You did a great job. I love it because it's so old school. And even with the tires and the rims, tell me about these hubcaps on these tires.
Oh, they're just old style.
Why'd you pick the Moons?
Old style.
Because it's old style. Let's go under the hood then. What's old school about the engine?
It's a '54 Dodge. It originally was 241 cubic inches. And I bored at 60,000, which makes it 250. And originally had a 2-barrel, which was 150 horsepower.
Right.
And I put 4-barrel on it and the headers and milled the heads as much as I could.
So you're taking all that technology you knew from the racing days
Yeah.
and you're putting it in this.
Yep.
And you got the high backs bucket seats in here,
They're
probably for comfort.
Alvin Aerostar, Ford 2005 Aerostar. And I dropped the front axle 3 inches. And it's got 2 springs instead of one over like that.
So you got a 3-inch drop on this, you say?
Yeah.
So 3-inch drop spindle. You have the side pipes, you got the lake pipes going, and they're active, right?
Yep.
Are they uncapped?
Yeah. No muffler.
No muffler, so you're going
It's-
straight pipe on this
yeah, It's
thing.
not very noisy.
Because it's a small
It's a
engine.
small engine.
But still, you got the throaty sound going on the
Yeah,
lake pipes.
yeah.
Because a lot of times you see lake pipes are not hooked up, they're still for show.
yeah.
But you went and hooked them
Oh,
up.
these are good.
So you got a Chrysler engine in this thing. It's in a Ford, but it says Hemi on the front. Is that a Hemi?
Yes.
It is a Hemi. See, I don't think anybody realizes that Hemi made an engine that small. But really, it's the type and style of engine, not really the size of it, isn't it?
Right.
And so when if somebody says, hey, that thing got a Hemi, you can say,
Yep.
yep. And do me a favor. Can you let me hear this bad boy Hemi?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
So some of the accessories that we use for our rides aren't just cool, they're also for safety. Backup cameras, for example. Tell me why they're so important, Rick.
Well, the main reason is because most of the vehicles in the last 10 to 15 years have had the rear window raised considerably, where you can't really get a good view anywhere from about 4 feet down to the ground.
I think someone else that might benefit from having a backup camera is someone who's chopped their street rod and they have such a narrow back window. I can't imagine you can see much at all out of those.
No view out of that one at all. Nothing at all. Again, great time to have a camera on the back where you can actually see the bottom 3 to 4 feet behind the vehicle, and not only behind the vehicle but towards the sides.
I'm guessing then that means that you've got a variety of styles available?
Yes, we do. Different styles of cameras and different styles of monitors. Whenever we're doing an aftermarket installation, if they would like to change out the radio, we can put in a large face radio called a double DIN radio that actually will have the picture built right into the face of the radio.
Mm-hmm. So is this an example of another camera capability that you've got? What's this in
Yes,
here?
it is. This is actually a mirror with a monitor built into it. It looks like a regular mirror on your car, and what we'll do, if you don't want to go with a new radio and you want to add the backup camera feature, we can actually change out the mirror, and when you go into reverse, the whole left side of the mirror becomes your monitor. And of course, whenever you put it back into drive, it becomes a fully functional mirror. And
that was going to be my next question, because I wondered if that little view of what's behind you only comes up when you're backing up.
in reverse.
Okay.
That's correct. And like I said, otherwise it's fully functional, and most of these mirrors also have a feature called auto dimming. So if someone's behind you at night with their headlights on, it'll turn into a blue shade instead of you flipping the little high-low switch, you know, mounted on the mirror itself, as far as if they're coming at you with bright lights.
So remember, for the safety of your ride and for the safety of those around you, it's always best to know what's behind you.
You're watching Street Riding American Style on Cox Channel, Kansas. When Don pulls into a show with his 1952 Chevy cab over, everybody takes notice, including us. That's why we have it next on Street Riding American Style.
All right, you go to those car shows, there's always this thing at the car show that it just kind of stands out, and you're like, what is that thing? And I found it, and I found it's under Don.
Don, yep.
Don, what in the heck is this thing?
Well, this is Chevy's version of their semi cab over.
The laws of the time limited overall truck length to 42 feet on highways. Setting the cab over the engine and front axle shaved several feet off the length of the tractor, which could then be added to the length of the trailer.
Somebody cut the front end off of this thing because they shrunk it up a little bit. I mean, it just looks like a stub-nosed just monster coming at you.
It's like you hit a wall.
How do you get to the motor?
Well, you could lift the hood up, or you could pull the floor pan out and get to it. But
it doesn't, like a typical cab over you see today. They kind of, the whole cab tips forward.
No,
This one doesn't do that.
It don't do that.
It's got a hood.
It just sits right there.
Sweet.
Yeah. So it's hard to work on, let me tell you.
Now, Don, this thing has a ton of chrome on it.
Yeah.
But it's a 52.
Yep.
And you were telling me something about, before we got on air, you were saying that in 1952, chrome wouldn't have been available.
Chrome was very hard to get back then because of the war.
And so they're going to use all those materials to go to the war.
They need all the materials to go to the war.
So if chrome was so hard to get, these pieces don't come chromed out. You can't just take them in and get them finished. You had to go and dip all this stuff.
Right. And this is the original bumper and the grill. They did have stainless around the headlight rings, and then a little bit inside the cab.
So you
could get a little bit of stainless.
Yeah.
Like.
Oh, you wouldn't have had it all chromed anyway.
No.
Oh,
no.
you left what was stainless.
Yeah.
So, how long did it take you to judge the distance between the car in front of it and you come to a stop? I mean, that's kind of spooky.
Well, yeah, because you really can't see anything up there.
I can't imagine you can see it.
I do drive a semi for a living anyway.
So you're a pro anyway.
So, well, I wouldn't say a pro, but I got a little better feel for it.
Yeah.
And it makes it easier. makes it easier.
Could it pass a DOT inspection for a commercial motor vehicle?
Oh, yeah.
I know it's not. You're probably not doing any business with it. But
Right. No, it's the lights and brakes and everything.
It's legit because I noticed the reflective tape on there you see on the trucks. I mean, that's a requirement. And this thing has it.
Yep. No, if I wanted to put Don Hanson trucking on the side of it
and take it out
and haul something with it, I could.
That's cool. Just get you a DOT number and you're good to go.
DOT number and you're good to go.
Awesome.
Yep.
Tell me about the license plate on the back.
Okay, I got a license plate there. If you look at it, it's a full-size 1952 plate.
Yeah.
And
because I always figured in back in there, it's got the little state of Kansas cutout, and I figured that's just typical for a vintage license plate.
Right.
But in 52,
because of the war, going back to the war again, they only gave you that little plate that said 52 on it. It's just like an inch long, inch by an inch, and it had 52, and that was it.
So the 52 license plate was a state of Kansas, square and cut out, but because of the war, they had these itty bitty little thingies.
You're right.
Not the big one.
Not the big one. They only got this little tab.
But that one's got a big one though.
But I got a big one on this one with an L on it.
Right.
And everything. That's like $1 million question. What's the L stand for? Well, if you lost that little bitty tag, they would give you a full-size tag with L on it, which stands for lost.
No kidding.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Let's save our materials and give them smaller plates. But if they listen, you're a dummy. You need the big one.
Big one. Yeah.
Don, I've heard that some of these old trucks have like a push start ignition switch on the floorboard.
Right.
Up by the accelerator, right?
Right.
Now you've got some kind of switch back by the seat on this one.
Well, yeah.
What the heck, dude?
Well, they since you're sitting on top of that motor, there's no room for the starter button to be up by the accelerator, so they had to move it back by the seat.
Everything is better.
Back by the seat there, and I tell you, if you're not looking for it, it's hard to find. That's like my safety switch.
Yeah, it's like an anti-theft
thing.
Yeah.
Right.
You're gonna have to figure out.
But it works the same way. You just push down on it, and it takes right up.
Don, I got one more question for you.
All right.
Can we hear this bad boy?
Oh, it will start now. 3 years ago when I was up here, I went to start it. Starter went out, so I had all my buddies had to push me. Oh yeah.
We're downhill. We'll just push it down.
Push downhill.
It'll be fine. Get out of the way.
Get out of the way.
Yeah.
Who knows what could happen?
Fire this bad boy.
All right.
I realize that most hot rods are stored during the winter, but that doesn't mean you stop driving altogether. And if you're anything like me, the thought of getting into a freezing cold car is not thrilling. Rick, I'm sure you've got a solution for my diva problem. Can you tell me what it might be?
We do. It's called a remote start. We sell a ton of these things. They'll actually lock and unlock your vehicle if you have power locks. They'll start the vehicle up. It'll run for up to 20 minutes and then cycle off, so you don't have to worry about coming out at a certain time or anything like that. These have a range of about half a mile. It also has a theft feature built into it, Shelley, where once you start it, if somebody should try to get into your vehicle without the key, you can't shift most of these vehicles into reverse without first pushing the brake. Without the key being in the vehicle, it'll kill the vehicle, so you've got that safety feature which protects you from any car theft.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to ask you how you can have your car running and not have it stolen.
This actually lets the car run, warm up, defrost your windows, and have you ready to go without the keys being in the car. And then once, of course, you put the key in the ignition and turn it and push the brake, it hands off directly to your ignition key. So you just back up and leave.
Okay, great. I know this is a great feature for the winter, but I'm telling you what, these Kansas summers are hot. Any benefit to having one of these in the middle of the summer?
Absolutely, because all you have to do, Shelley, is set your air conditioning control versus your heater. This starts your vehicle the way you left it.
So you mentioned that we can have the car running with no threat of it being stolen.
Right.
As long as there's not a key in it, it's okay legally to leave it running unattended.
Right.
But you also said that this will start up to a half mile away. I'm pretty skeptical about that. I think you might have to prove that to me.
Okay, well, we're going to show you, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Rick actually let me drive his truck half mile down the road, and we're going to see if this thing will really start from that far away. I've got Rick on the phone. Hey, listen, I've always wanted to say this. Gentlemen, start your engine.
Okay, Shelley, here we go.
Oh my gosh, he did it!
You're watching Street Riding American Style on Cox Channel, Kansas. Barney was originally a Chevy guy, but when he saw the way this 1946 Chrysler could wear the color yellow, Well, let's just say now he's a Chrysler guy. You might be swayed too after you see it, because we have it next on Street Rotting American Style.
Barney, I'm cruising up and down the drag here on the main street, looking at the cars, but of course the yellow popped out on this car to me. Tell me exactly, what am I looking at here?
This is a 1946 Chrysler Windsor Club Coupe.
Chrysler was founded by Walter Chrysler in the year 1925 and was built from the remains of what was once known as the Maxwell Motor Company.
A Chrysler Windsor Club Coupe. Did you have to memorize that, or did you already know what it was when you saw it?
Yeah, ever since I was a little kid.
Really? So Chryslers have been your blood for a long time?
I was a Chevy guy, too.
You were a Chevy guy. What swayed you from Chevy to Chrysler?
The color.
The color. So was this Chrysler that swayed you?
Yeah.
So it was already this color when you got it?
Yes.
But you've done some modifications to this too, haven't you?
Oh, a little bit under the hood, a little bit in the interior.
Okay, let's start under the hood then. What's under the hood?
A 1978 318 LA.
What have you done to the engine?
Basically, I highly detailed it. The motor was still sitting in it when I bought the car.
Right.
But when I took it to my first show, I was afraid to pop open the hood. It was so filthy and dirty.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I spent a winter and got my hands dirty and scrubbed and painted and shined.
And you painted that block.
Hand painted.
Yellow.
Yellow.
Why would you paint that block yellow?
Well, if you notice underneath in the cavern, it's all black.
Right.
So you get that yellow in there, all of a sudden that sun hits it, pops.
And I noticed that too, that there's a lot of yellow and black accents with this. The one thing I noticed, which I thought really stood out, was the window and all the glass is all black tinted.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
That is very cool. Your idea?
Yes, it was.
And
when I got it, it was clear glass. And I drove it home all the way across the state of Iowa.
Right.
And the windows didn't roll down, and it was 95 degrees, and I was dying.
Oh, 95 degrees, no air conditioning.
No air
conditioning. Oh my goodness.
So that was one of the first things I'd done, and I work in the glass business, and I changed all the glass out, put smoke in it.
Well, the front grille. That front grille is also a dark, deep black, which just also accents the car.
Right, right.
Now, it's also Frenched?
Yes, headlights are Frenched.
Yeah, you Frenched the headlights, you shaved
the handles. And she's also decked in the rear end, everything's shaved off.
Now, when you go to, let's say, a gas station or a restaurant with this ride, this beast, what's the comment you get?
They love the color.
Why?
I don't know. Well, even the bugs love this color.
The bugs love it?
I think it's a big sunflower.
Really?
Yes. I mean, they'll be crawling all over this by the end of the day.
So there's bugs that are attracted to the color on this thing?
Yeah.
You don't see them on any of the cars?
No, not hardly.
Okay, at least you got their vote.
There we go.
You're halfway there. Tell me about the car, though. The stance looks like it's been lowered. Has it been lowered?
It has been lowered a little. Actually, it does have a Camaro front end.
It does have a Camaro front end?
Yep, and it does, and a Camaro rear end.
Okay.
What makes the stance, even though it's level, I got just a little bit bigger tire in the back.
Okay,
so it drops down, makes it look
so you got a rubber rake on it.
Yep.
Then the Camaro front end also gives it a little drop too, kind of like a Mustang 2 front end.
Exactly.
But you're using a Camaro.
Yeah.
So what have you done to that interior?
Okay, we have new seats, new console, new stereo system, new headliner, and accented with Chrysler logos in the seat.
I saw the Chrysler Windsor logo on there. That sticks out so well because of the yellow.
Exactly.
This machine is just clean. It's just going down the road. I'm sure the only aerodynamics is going to be hitting it will be the bug stuck to it.
That's right.
Everything else is just awesome. Barney, can you do me a favor?
Sure.
Can you start this bad boy for me?
I sure can.
Awesome. So I just couldn't believe how many cars, 6 blocks.
For a small town, it was awesome.
It was awesome. What did you find?
Dude, I went and found the biggest, meanest thing I could find.
Yeah.
It was 1952 Chevy cab over, cherry red, beautiful.
It was one of those things, go big or go home.
Yeah, and it wasn't like a street rod, but it was awesome.
It
man.
was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. So I went from there, and I went to my old school lay-in frame 1950 Chevy pickup, man. This thing, it was just gnarly. How about you? What'd you find?
I found Barry's 46 Chrysler. I mean, what stood out to me was it was the color. It was yellow on black. I just couldn't walk past it. But I didn't stop there. I found Tony's 1940 Ford panel.
That thing was sweet.
It was sweet. It was old school, right down to the moons on the wheels.
That is cool. Moons are awesome, man. Well, guys, if you're like us, you just can't get enough street rods.
And so if that's the case, join us again next week and you'll see why street rodding is more than just a hobby.
It's an addiction.